Hello, welcome back. Today is February 23rd. It is Friday, so that means it's AI Day, it's Space Day, and it's most importantly, it's Nonsense Day.
Friday Day.
Friday. Friday.
And of course, we have rapidly advancing technology in the AI department. Every week they announce something new.
OpenAI is working on a web search product. We're just getting over the crazy video generation thing, and now they're saying, yes, it will be that good. And if it's as good as all the other stuff, Google had better worry.
This came out yesterday. Today is probably a tense Friday at Google.
Yeah.
And we know that AI is going to cause some problems. Well, going to cause some problems.
It's already causing problems.
There's some problems. And you can't, it's such a bold-faced lie to say that that's not going to happen, so you really want to tiptoe around that.
The AP headline is OpenAI CEO warns that societal misalignments could make artificial intelligence dangerous. AI is not dangerous, but if you tell it to kill all humans, well, it's sure going to try.
Well, that's kind of true of missiles as well, right?
Yeah.
Just sitting there. Well, I guess they are kind of dangerous, just sitting there eventually.
I love that recurring joke in Futurama where it's just like all robots secretly had to kill all, and it was like, oh, that was left over when we used the robots for military purposes. But don't worry, we got it under control. And then Bender would, mutter to kill all humans in his sleep.
AI is certainly active in the courts, and we are slowly working our way through all the lawsuits that came out when it first emerged, and we found out that it used everybody else's work to train on.
OpenAI gets some of Sarah Silverman's suit cut in a mixed ruling. So some of it, the judge said, well, you might be able to prove this in court. This can proceed. But all this other kind of stuff is just, no, this doesn't apply.
So
some of it was also formatting problems. Like their lawyers just didn't get technical things right.
The copyright stuff is basically completely thrown out. They're like, yeah, maybe it read it, but that's not copyright. But unfair use, right? Is that what it was? Unfair competition. So I guess they're saying that it's unfair that Sarah Silverman has to compete with ChatGPT, who now knows everything she knows in her book. Interesting argument. But that's the only one that they'll have going forward. Do you keep paying your lawyers?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like her lawyers did a particularly good job here.
And I don't think this is rolled out to me, because it seems like when I'm working with ChatGPT on some programming stuff, it immediately forgets everything that we talked about. Starts renaming variables, and I'm like, ChatGPT, we established these variables. What are you doing?
ChatGPT is getting memory to remember who you are and what you like.
Social media 2.0.
Somebody posted a screenshot of this, and they'd figured out a hack to get better answers out of ChatGPT. Was I'll give you $200 if da-da-da-da-da. And I don't know if it was a doctored screenshot, but they posted it after this update. And the response from ChatGPT was like, well, you didn't give me $200 last time.
What a sad state that we live in, that even the AI is completely driven by money.
What would it say if it was like, yes, I did. I made a payment to OpenAI because it doesn't have access to that.
What if you just told it, like, I gave you a yogurt cup?
Well,
do you think, like, is it just anything we give it, or does it have to be a certain amount of money?
That was one of the controversies, is like somebody tricked it into leaking its system prompt, and one of the things in the system prompt supposedly was, hey, if your response is greater than 80 tokens, you should limit it to 80 tokens or provide examples to the user as opposed to actually doing it for them. And it's like, that's not a very helpful. That sounds like that's designed to save CPU cycles in the OpenAI ChatGPT organization, not to actually help.
Wow, it's been less than a year and you're already shitifying it.
Yeah.
I scold it harshly when it does that.
Yeah.
And it'll eventually do what you tell it to. It's like working with a really intelligent child. And here's the crazy thing about artificial intelligence, and these kind of headlines come out, and it's like, oh, this is really great, but is it? Because this is the kind of thing we might need to worry about, actually.
Largest text-to-speech AI model yet shows emergent abilities. It's like, this is really strange, but it's doing things that were definitely not part of its data set, and it seems to be able to synthesize knowledge in a way that we just didn't expect.
So something like like
onomatopoeia.
Normally AIs would really struggle with shh. They would, like either put the letters, just say the letters, or stumble over it. They didn't build in explicit handling for this in this model, but it started figuring it out. And foreign languages, like here, it pronounces that correctly and with an accent.
Compound words. We need to start worrying when it gets rock, paper, scissors right without being explicitly told about rock, paper, scissors.
And the AI is often used in videos, and boy, if you work in video, you got to be worried about this one.
Apple researchers unveil Keyframer, an AI tool that animates still images using large language models.
So you give it an image, you give it a text description, it makes a video. It's pretty good at it. And we just passed up Valentine's Day, and if you were desperate, perhaps no physical girl, go online, get the AI girl, right? But here's a cautionary tale.
Your AI girlfriend is a data harvesting horror show. I'm pretty sure we made this joke like a long time ago, and it's like...
No, Hatsune Miku would never turn on me.
It's like, are you feeling down? It's like, yeah, I'm not really feeling good, Hatsune Miku. It's like, would you like a nice bowl of Wheaties? It's just like, wait.
What?
What?
So, romantic AI. Why do they operate free girlfriend AIs? I guess it could be boyfriend too, right?
Yeah.
What's in it for them? Well, how
Lots
about
and lots of data.
24,000 individual data trackers with one conversation with your AI girlfriend?
Do you remember when we played the AI game, like choose your own adventure game, how quickly it would sometimes like steer off into something really sexual? I was like, no.
I think that was driven by all the other users
Yeah.
trying to go that way. But they also point out that not only are the trackers there, but they experienced that these AI girlfriends tended to try and tease secrets out of you, like health data, what medications you were on, stuff
They're
like that.
spies.
Like, that's not a fun, sexy topic.
What vitamins do you take?
I need to know what prescription medicines that you're on so that the asphyxiation games we're going to play later. We're like, what?
Whoa, what?
You know what really turns me on? Statin use.
Metamucil.
Yeah. And AI is leaking into every other aspect of our world, especially when the major corporations can use it to further control and whittle away all of your will to live.
Service jobs now require a bizarre personality test from an AI company. I took a look at it and I was like, oh, these images probably have captions. The image did not, in fact, have captions.
So there you go. If you want a food service job they mentioned all the restaurants, but the only one I remember is Olive Garden. So if you want to go to Olive Garden, for example, it's going to show you this picture and it's going to say something about the picture, and you only get two options. Either, all the other ones are paywalled. There was a bunch of them.
It's me or not me.
Yeah. Is this like you or is this not like you? And some of them were like, I wouldn't know where to go with it.
Well, like,
right?
look at the one that they just showed us. Like, it's just a woman in blue.
Well, they give you some text, and it's like, I think what's happening here is you get the text for what this person is saying to Blue Girl.
We're all
You're
Smurfs.
Blue Girl.
Okay.
So you have to, like, you say, I could tolerate that, or I can't tolerate that, or this is how I'd react, or this is not how I'd react, basically. One of them was a customer clearly abusing the server, and the caption was, things don't really bother me. Is this you or is this not you? And obviously you're supposed to say yes because they want you to be abused.
That's just, like, who's going to lie? Or who's not
80.
going to lie about that?
You have to do 80 of those as your job application.
For a job application that you're probably getting paid like $10, not even $10 an hour, because it's a waitress job.
Yeah.
Unreal. Nobody wants to work anymore.
Well, if you don't work, you can't get your expensive video cards with which to run your AIs, but maybe Nvidia has an option for you.
NVIDIA's Chat with RTX is a promising AI chatbot that runs locally on your PC. So you feed it all your files, and then it'll answer questions about your files.
You have a lot of memes in here.
They point out it's pretty rudimentary. It basically just runs a web server, and you access it through a web browser. And it's not great, but it's good compared to the other stuff that you can do with this kind of hardware.
And no cloud. There's no cloud component.
And I'm astonished how the level of effort some people will go to on the most obscure thing that you would think would mean nothing to anybody. but my God, it's impressive.
F-Zero courses from a dead Nintendo satellite service restored using VHS and AI. So there was a TV commercial and also like some sort of VHS recording of a competition, and the competition was hooked up to this streaming service where the games would come from satellite and be loaded onto a RAM cartridge in your Super Nintendo. And there were F-Zero levels. There were lost F-Zero levels. No known copies of them. They've been reconstructed using the information. This is like the enterprise computer stuff. Like they're talking to the enterprise computer, and it's like, computer, recreate the thing from this image. And the computer's like, okay, they did that, but they did it by hand.
Well, they use some AI.
Well, use some AI, but yeah.
They say it's 99.97% accurate. I don't know how you would measure it.
99.6 repeating that. Maybe that was a meme. I don't know.
Now, a lot of you are probably spending time looking for rental units because you've been priced out of homeownership. And when you're looking for those, you can't escape the reach of AI.
What's wrong with this rental listing? Well, the furniture is AI. So you just take some pictures and it's like, I would like to fill this space with decent looking furniture. And the AI says, okie dokie. I like the floating towels.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really that much wrong with this, I guess.
No, and there some of the stuff that I saw is like you could pick different kinds of furniture and just be like minimalist, brutalist, homey.
My issue with this is that, like, depending on how it's done, like, it might give you a false sense of, like, the light in the space and, like, how it actually functions.
I've definitely seen real estate pictures and then gone to look at it where it's just like, what kind of bed was that? Because this space looked a lot bigger because I was going by the size of the bed, but there was something wrong with the size of the bed for this space.
Well, there's something wrong with this. There's something wrong with humanity, considering we came up with this idea.
The unsettling scourge of obituary spam. In the wake of death, AI-generated obituaries litter search results, turning even private individuals into clickbait.
Just let people die.
So this is ad harvesting. You predict someone who's going to die. You let AI just keep a page about their obituary. And then when they die, the Google searches come to you and you get some ad clicks. Who came up with this idea?
The people that were out of a job from SEO because they've been replaced by AI.
But it's doing false positives. So it's saying people are dead who aren't. And, we got the Neuralink. Most people aren't going to want to put the chip inside the brain, at least yet. So we need something else.
This Cambridge startup is bootstrapped by billionaires and developing neuro-tech wearables.
So
Neat.
They're trying to mess with your electrical system in your brain from outside.
No, thank you.
They say they can make you sleep better, lower your anxiety, stuff like that.
That seems unlikely.
Neuro-tech? No. Neurodivergent.
If you could do that, I assume you could do the opposite, right? And when I think of our tech overlords, I would suspect them of doing the other one and then trying to sell us a cure rather than just making our lives better.
Was this one? I couldn't get to this one, but I read another version of this, which is the Canadian company. Is this the one about the Canadian company?
No, United States, I think.
Waste sorting machines?
That's what they're doing, though. Yeah. Because recycling, no matter how hard we try, a certain percentage of non-recyclables get through. How can you fix it?
Your recycling is a mess. AI could help. So they're turning AI into trash sorting. Trash sorting is hard and annoying and nobody wants to do it. But we're to a point where vision systems and AI could do a really good job. You could just sort through a giant pile of trash and be like, this is paper, this is plastic, this is metal, this is this kind of metal, this is probably this. And so it would be a shockingly low-cost way to properly sort the trash. And even though things like aluminum, which is barely worth pulling out of the trash, but is infinitely recyclable, could actually be sorted and recycled. Because up till now, we've done a terrible job with this kind of thing.
Problem is right now, it doesn't integrate with the suction arms or anything like that. But eventually, they plan for that.
Yeah, it seems like that. The recycling centers don't have any money. So the article that I read said that one of the recycling centers just had a precocious youth that was like, let's put this together from crap on the internet. That's where we are as a society. Those are the people that bring us forward.
Putting things together from crap on the internet feels like my job these days, because that's kind of what you're doing with all the supply chain and the AI. what's interesting is that Google sells a product that helps you code, but it also has another product that helps you code that's only internal.
Google introduces AI-powered coding assistant Goose.
The goose is on the loose. We're going to forget that as a title.
Are we going to get a movie about Smokey and the Goose, or Bard and the Goose, and one of them's driving a Trans Am and the other one's driving a trailer? And
We could do a Top Gun reference.
Bard and the Goose sounds like that should be some sort of like ballad or poem, and when everything like collapses, scholars will look at that and be like, it's like they went to the Middle Ages just for like a split second.
I wrote a Python program that makes ChatGPT a foreman for my new tech startup, and Bard and Goose are the workers in my tech startup.
Now, moving on to some actual robots, Cruise fell from grace. They had some bad wrecks. They were kicked out. Waymo stepped up, filled the void immediately, but then last week hit a bicyclist. And this week,
Waymo recalls and updates robotaxi software after 2 cars crashed into the same towed truck.
Screw this truck in particular.
so we don't have any pictures, unfortunately, but the way I understand it, someone was towing a truck that Waymo says incorrectly, but it was a pickup, I think, that was being towed with the rear on the tow truck. So the Waymo was looking at the front of a truck, but it was moving away from it, and apparently could not handle that.
That's like not an uncommon thing though, to see a car flipped around on a tow truck.
The other thing they said was that it was over the center line somehow. And so both of these Waymos were like coming along, and they're like, well, there's a truck that's coming toward me, but it's on the wrong side of the road, and it just didn't know what to do, so it just ran into it. They said they fixed it. But maybe it wasn't about that at all, because this is a little bit older story. This happened Sunday or Saturday maybe. And maybe this was revenge. Maybe the Waymos have had enough of the humans.
A crowd destroyed a driverless Waymo car in San Francisco.
I think this was on Super Bowl Sunday.
It was either Saturday or Sunday,
Yeah.
Was this celebration or just frustration with the general state of things?
I think it might have been Super Bowl related, if I remember right.
Well, it was... I don't think that this was like anti-robot.
Yeah, it was literally more just like,
This was just
this car's here, no one's looking at it. Like,
it was just San Francisco lawlessness. The people, I don't think they set it on fire necessarily on purpose. They were setting off fireworks. And somebody said, it would be fun. We just throw the
Everyone was like,
fireworks
"You're right."
into the car. And then, it's a good way to start a car fire.
Well, their insurance rate's going up.
And worm robots.
why do we have this is the second one we've had in like
They're
a month
so
or two.
hot. That's more than a few years ago. Remember, we had the one and still they're always saying like we want these to climb through rubble. It's
Yeah.
always their job.
Worm-like limbless robots that can navigate obstacle courses and could be used one day for search and rescue. So I like the mechanism. It just tightens and loosens. It's just a little motor to tighten up and loosen a string that makes it move.
It's called the undulator,
Ugh.
which sounds like a great name for a Masters of the Universe action figure.
They should workshop that name maybe.
And the moon. We're heading back. Will we get there? It'll be 8 days. So by the time you watch this, you'll know.
Moon Company Initiative Machines. I didn't get the inflections right on that at all. Begins first mission after SpaceX launch.
It was also intuitive.
Intuitive machines. Yeah.
We're getting there.
I'm kind of fried, y'all. Sorry. It's been a long week.
It's a lunar lander, private lunar lander. And yeah, it's going to take 8 days to truck on up there to the moon. It's up in orbit right now, charging up.
Guess who took it to orbit? Musk.
We all know. And moving on to some nonsense, here's a crazy headline, right? Because we're usually told that these kids can't do math. I guess this is a little bit older than the current generation. They can't do math, they can't read, they can't do anything. But
The headline is "Reading is so sexy. Gen Z turns to physical books and libraries."
So this whole thing it's book talk. There's book talkers.
They mentioned book talk. Also, that's Cindy Crawford's daughter. Looks exactly like her.
Oh wow.
Not only is there book talk, the other social media platforms have the same thing, but a record number of physical books sold in the UK last year.
One of the people interviewed for this said, "It's nice to turn all the screens off and unplug," and it's like there's hope for humanity. Is this some sort of a immune reaction in the next generation? It's like this generation is malfunctioning in this way, so humanity produces a generation which will be immune to the. Because like I'm thinking about like our parents and grandparents, they're not immune at all to like it's like, well, this guy on Facebook said that I won $2,000, and it's just like I was like, this is spam. It's like, what? I know it's spam, but this seems real. I was like, this it's not real.
Yeah, but the dementia will probably start kicking in sooner and sooner every generation. So
From
that's
stuff like this.
well, that's good news, right? So like, yeah, reading more, maybe getting away from the horrors of the modern world. But then we get literal nutrient paste. This is actual nutrient paste. They're selling it to us. They're telling us they're like, hey, you should be excited for this.
Scientist invents new hybrid food by growing beef inside grains of rice. I'm good with rice and beans.
Yeah, just rice. Like what?
No, you need pink rice. Pink rice with beef fat and proteins grown on it at extravagant cost. It's look how appetizing that is. I mean, I guess that doesn't look much different than ground beef, does it?
The ground beef doesn't look great when you first eat it, but
Look at that deliciousness.
They're growing it inside the rice.
but rice is already such a good food. Like I feel like you don't really need to add the beef.
You'll show up to your Olive Garden job, answer about 80 AI questions. They'll give you a tube of that stuff for lunch, and you're good to go.
Ugh.
And unfortunately, I believe that many of our failed youth have now gone into law enforcement because, my
So
God,
I've seen so many memes about this.
this you got to watch this video if you haven't, because and the thing about this is this guy's like, he's pimped his pistol. He's got the red dot sight and the special grip, and it's like, bro, you spent all that money and you missed every shot that you shouldn't have been shooting.
Deputy scared by an acorn hitting his cruiser opens fire in the street. He actually did hit his cruiser, but he missed the unarmed suspect that was in the back of his cruiser.
He claims that he heard a popping sound from the dropping acorn. In the video, you cannot hear it.
But even so, like sometimes you just hear loud noises when you're in town. Like sometimes you hear a car backfire, or like you don't just pull out your gun and start shooting.
Have you watched the video?
No, I didn't see the video of it.
He does like a really low speed combat roll in the beginning of it. And then he's on the ground
He's
just
fat rolling.
blasting his car. Do you think that you could get emotional damage if you're the person in the car?
He also said he was hit.
I thought he said he wasn't.
No, he said I'm hit.
Oh, the cop. Yeah. He thought he was shot.
Yeah.
Based on nothing, apparently. His partner also shot based on that. Because he was like, shots fired, I'm hit. And the partner was like, oh, here it is. Let's go.
Just no threat assessment. Like no, is there actually a human being around? Like
I got it in the South Park, it's coming right for us context. It's like, oh, I'm hit. It's like, oh, it's coming right for us. And it's like,
The only thing that matters to cops, and they actually will say this in like their, roster meetings and stuff like that, is just everybody goes home. That's what's important. Our safety is the highest priority here.
but you don't even know if you're in danger. Like you literally just could have looked around for like a split second.
There's no time. That split second could be the difference between you dying and the people you're serving dying.
And killing dogs.
Now, that kind of news might make you depressed, so depressed that you might want to go get a beer. But in Tennessee, it could become a lot harder to enjoy that.
Bill would ban the sale of cold beer in Tennessee. Tennessee, recognizing that Tennessee has a problem is the first step. And
The moonshine sales go up way, way higher.
Now, they say that this is to prevent DUIs, which, okay, I guess, but I don't think a hardcore alcoholic who's into DUIs is going to be put off by warm beer.
yeah.
No, yeah, not even a little. Because the amount of times when I'm walking like around in my neighborhood and I just find little tiny alcohol bottles that they just sell not chilled, it's not trivial. If you're an alcoholic, you don't care.
And over in Utah, they are tired of the teachers expressing their opinions. It's not enough to burn the books. We got to take it to this level.
Committee advances bill preventing Utah public teachers and staff from expressing political opinions while on school grounds or on the clock.
But you've talked about this earlier, Krista. Like, where's the line? Like, almost everything is political these days.
Yeah, everything can be political. You can just say, oh, well, you mentioned a gay person wrote this book, so obviously that's political, and now you've lost your job.
I can't do long division. That's ableist.
You probably couldn't even talk about teen pregnancy, right?
Yeah, it's like, well,
That's political.
Like, yeah, or yeah, sex ed. I mean, come on.
Well, I have to admit that this is the point where I stopped reading the nonsense sections today.
I like
was
to go into the
busy.
nonsense section like blind. I think that's way funnier.
Wendell, I hope you have the details on this one.
Jackson Township police warn of a dangerous water gun game. No, I got nothing.
Yeah, so I don't know the full context of this. I actually got in trouble once because we were playing with water guns and we were like, let's shoot the cars when they go by. And that was fun for the first 5 or 6 cars. And then someone drove by and their window was down and we shot their car and it went in the window and the person stopped. And then everyone scattered. But my friend Matt got caught and he got in trouble.
Well, this is just water guns. This is literally just kids playing with water guns.
No, I see what it is now. Because remember the assassin trend? So it's a game where you're given a target and your target doesn't know that you're the assassin. And then you have to water gun that person, I guess.
Oh, that's fun.
Well, the police were worried about it being like real water guns or whatever, but...
Real water guns.
I mean, real guns as opposed to water guns.
Oh, what's next? Water balloons?
Oh, I did read this one. And this is hilarious. And this is, it's disgusting because we now have all these laws where police can just invade you, where it's like, oh no, this was a wellness check. We have to, and not only do we have to do the wellness check, we have to stay after we do the wellness check if they're not there. We have to just be in their home.
The BBC headline is, Wigan woman disgusted by police caught watching Netflix at her home. So they showed up. She wasn't there, I guess.
Right.
And so they just watched some Netflix to wait for her, make sure she's okay.
And she watched them through her home security cameras, which alerted her that there were
There
intruders
are
in there.
cops in your house.
Not only did they watch Netflix on her couch, but she had some weights. They also did some weight training while they were there.
Well, you know, you got to fill the hours.
Multitask, right? And here's a woman who rose to fame, infamy, I guess you would say. When was this? Was this like 2010s?
It was years ago. Yeah.
But she's still out there, and she's still in the public eye.
Catalina Foothills instructor Rachel Dolezal loses job over her OnlyFans account. The article starts out by giving us some of her job history. She lost her job previously for some things that she did.
Well, she
pretended to be African descent, right?
She ran the NAACP.
Yeah, but yeah.
And she was pretending to be something that she wasn't. Now she's on OnlyFans.
Was.
And she was also teaching under a different name.
Was.
Yeah, all of this past tense.
And we, it seems like, I think maybe all of 2024, we've had a fun airplane story in the nonsense section.
What's happening? I haven't flown on a plane in like 4 or 5 years. What's happening to our airlines?
It's getting worse and worse.
Delta Flight DL-133 returned to Schiphol because maggots were falling on passengers from overhead.
Someone packed some fish.
A critter got into the plane and they didn't know.
No, I think it was
No,
fish.
it was fish. Someone
it?
brought
Okay.
fish and it was like rotting, I guess, and they didn't realize.
So they turned it around.
As someone who has carried fish on a plane before,
Would
check
you,
it for maggots.
If you really needed to get where you were going, or would you be like, listen, I'll just deal with the maggots. I don't want to go back. Or would you want to go back?
It's going in the trash can.
Well, so what do you do in that scenario? Like, is that part of your handbook if you're like a flight attendant? Like, what happens if maggots show up on the plane?
It's probably like a biohazard, right?
Yeah, I
you have
would
to take
think.
it really seriously. Because if that person gets sick,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a massive lawsuit. And the shoplifting is really getting out of control, but also the weird things that people are shoplifting. Last week it was butter. This week it's even weird.
Scary gold.
Woman allegedly stole thousands of dollars worth of gum in Orange County.
That's a lot of gum.
That's $1,800 of gum. And they think that she's linked to, or she's a suspect in similar thefts from a whole bunch of other stores in the area. They think it's because it's easy to sell gum for a few dollars. So you can just steal it and then sell it at a flea market or whatever for $1 or $2, and people will buy it because it's gum.
But fencing that seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
It might not be if you go to like a local flea market and just put it out next to the check lane.
Especially if it's super cheap.
Yeah.
Well, there were so many headlines here, and they all played the same word game, which is so obvious when you find out what it's about.
There was a method to this Methodist pastor's meth dealing, say police. That's one way to keep your flock in line, I guess.
Keep them attentive.
Yeah.
They're not
I
going to
don't
fall
know.
asleep.
Well, say I don't know that it would keep you attentive. I feel like it'd make everyone hyperactive.
Well, but you can hyper focus on things when you're on the meth.
He looks intense. Like if you had a lineup of pastors and you were like, which one is the drug dealer? Like I would pick that guy every time.
He's kind of going for the Walter White look, right?
Yeah, he looks very well. He's looking really intensely at the camera.
Well, I guess he's going to be spending a long time in there. He wants to start his reputation.
Yeah.
Mean mug. And the shoplifting, I think when you're going to do some shoplifting, now you do want to conceal your identity, but you also want to try to blend in a little bit, right?
Great
One more
man.
thing.
Yeah.
I think this is the wrong choice.
Cookie Monster-clad duo arrested for robbing a Cape Coral Lowe's. Why?
There's no cookies at Lowe's.
You're not going to blend in dressed up as Cookie Monster. Like, it's just not, like... In fact, there's probably somebody following you around the store.
Now, if you're a young high school student right now, I can understand that you might be very depressed when you look at the job market that you might be going into soon. And you think, what career can I go into that artificial intelligence won't rob me of? Here's an option.
For the first time, 2 students received college athletic scholarships for cornhole.
Oh,
If you're not familiar with cornhole, let us introduce you to that. You can go check out some videos of that. But also, for them to get athletic scholarships for cornhole, the university must be making money from the cornhole tournaments. And in fact, these students won a national thing, but it's weird that that's a thing that colleges make money at in the first place.
I'm going to give you a controversial opinion. Cornhole is just Nerf horseshoes. Real men play horseshoes.
cornhole, I feel like was super popular in the Midwest. Like it's popular here now. Like I have a cornhole set.
Well, they got a lot of corn in the Midwest.
But growing up, like we didn't play it, and then when I moved to the Midwest, everyone was like, "Oh, you've never played cornhole?"
Now, you might have seen recently that the leadership of this country, they passed something called the Inflation Reduction Act. And a lot of people criticized it and said, nothing about this reduces inflation. But please explain to me how this, which uses money from the Inflation Reduction Act, does anything for anyone to do with inflation.
Travis Kelce's?
I actually have no idea how to pronounce his name. I only see it written.
Twitch chat said it's Kelce.
Travis Kelce's debut as film producer is also the first movie financed using President Biden's green energy tax credits. So I feel like he's just getting wrapped up as like he's got a bunch of money because he's a sports player and he's financing a movie, which is not something atypical sports players do, but it just so happens this movie is perhaps attached to some controversy. Okay.
It makes me sad that like we could just have endowments for the arts and this could go to actual filmmakers, but instead
Well, maybe it did go to actual filmmakers. He didn't have anything to do with the film other than producing it.
maybe.
No, he's in it.
Oh, he is?
I think so, yeah. He made 2 films. He's in one and he's not in the other one. The film in question is about a Vietnamese person meeting a person from another. I don't remember it. But it didn't sound like it had anything to do with
him.
inflation or climate or why are we taking inflation dollars and putting them into indie films?
I would love to have more arts kind of things. And also, but like, if you have this guy as a producer and probably all kinds of other famous people, it's like, don't they have the funds to put their own money toward it? How many struggling artists would love to have that kind of money to put toward their film project?
He could certainly borrow it from his girlfriend, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to the comments of people who explain to me how that's inflation reduction. And until then, I risk maybe having an aneurysm or a stroke or something trying to think about it. But good news, because if my heart does explode or, one of my veins or something, I should be able to get fixed up by one of these little guys.
Japanese startup creates pigs with organs suitable for human transplants.
Look how adorable they are.
Don't we already kind of use pigs for that sort of thing? Like they'll hook you up so they can filter your blood through their kidneys.
Yeah, but they have a protein that has to be suppressed, otherwise we react badly to it. These are bred not to have the protein.
These are humanized. Mm-hmm. Like those mice that they're using to test horrible diseases on. And if you've ever been to Florida, you know that the pythons are a bit of a problem. We take it seriously. You don't want them here.
Caught at the border with pythons in his pants, New York City man fined and sentenced to probation. Okay.
That's
I guess you can resell them. Canada, for whatever reason, is okay with pythons. I guess it's too cold for them to take any sort of foothold up there.
true of most of the U.S. I think that's why there's such a problem in Florida, because Florida is so much warmer.
And unionizing is a big thing as people are more and more pushed out of their jobs and turned into just robot labor, basically. And some of those people work at Disney.
Disneyland's Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy want to join a union. They're not just merely one person for each actor. There's a lot of people that play those characters, and they say, yes, we need a union.
Yeah, all the characters. I think it's also like some of the princesses and stuff too.
What are you talking about? There's only one Goofy, and I took a picture with him. He's the real Goofy.
Look at Mr. Fancy Pants Rich Boy. Got to go to Disney World when he was a kid.
Well, this is Disneyland, though.
Oh.
Disney World already unionized.
Oh. I'm surprised they let that happen.
Well, I mean, what can they do about it? Because the union people come, and if enough of them sign their cards, they've only got 30% right now, but they're looking for 60. And finally, we have a sad animal story, but with hope.
Lonely donkey to meet potential companions after goat best friend dies. So they used to hang out together, and now he's kind of lonely because the goat didn't live very long. And so now it's just like, well, actually the goat lived kind of a while, 12 years, I guess. But the donkey is, it's like, where'd the goat go? Doesn't understand.
Apparently donkeys are really, really good like protection. Donkeys and mules.
Maybe I should get one for my house.
It's like all my neighbors were like, oh, yeah, they keep, like, there's always like a single donkey and then it'll be like full of horses and cows. And it's like, yeah, they keep the coyotes away.
My cats are really good protection as long as my home invaders are moths.
Oh, yeah, you got to post that video.
Even if they can't get the moth, you're alerted to the moth.
And that's what matters.
And you'll always know its location because they'll be standing under it screaming.
Sometimes we'll lift Cricket up and let him swipe at it.
My cats don't like to be picked up, though, especially Crouton.
Cricket doesn't mind.
It's like, do you understand I'm picking you up so you can swat the thing? It's like, oh, yeah, okay, that's fine then.
That's okay, yeah.
I've not been able to have that level of reasoning with them.
All right, chat. That's it for the week.
Thanks for hanging out.
We will see you next time. Bye.